Right, gather round, because today we're stepping into a world that whispers of high rollers and even higher stakes. A world most only dream of, or dread from afar, investment banking. You know the image: sleek suits, power lunches, multi-million-dollar deals.
The wolves of Wall Street, right?
Exactly. But what's really going on behind those glass skyscrapers? We're going deep on this one, separating the glitz from the grind. Luckily, I've got an expert guide right here, someone who's walked the walk and lived to tell the tale. They've got the inside scoop on what it's actually like to be an investment banker, especially at the entry level.
Think of it as a backstage pass to Wall Street, no sugarcoating allowed.
Love it. Now, our source material for this deep dive is a document that pulls absolutely no punches when describing life as a junior banker. We're talking analysts and associates, the folks working those infamous long hours and navigating a culture that's, shall we say, demanding.
To say the least.
So let's cut straight to the chase. What does a typical day look like for these financial soldiers? The document breaks it down into 4 key areas. First up, we've got analysis, which sounds obvious, right? But we're not talking about skimming the Financial Times over your morning coffee.
This is where things get real. Imagine building these insanely complex financial models, essentially virtual representations of companies and deals, all under intense pressure and impossible deadlines.
So those Excel skills better be top-notch.
Oh, you bet. And here's a curveball. The document mentions that even boutique firms, those known for being a bit more, let's say, personality-driven, are now hopping on the modeling test bandwagon during interviews.
Wow, so even if you're gunning for a smaller, more niche firm, there's no escaping those spreadsheets. What's driving this shift, do you think? Is the whole industry becoming more numbers obsessed?
It's a trend we're seeing across the board. These models are becoming the backbone of decision-making, even in areas where gut instinct might have played a bigger role in the past.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so we've got analysis, which sounds intense enough as it is. But the document also highlights the sheer volume of presentations and documents these folks churn out. We're talking pitch books, those meticulously crafted sales documents, right?
Right. And it's not just about putting together a few slides. Imagine hundreds of slides sometimes, each one scrutinized and re-scrutinized. The document actually mentions this ritual called flipping the book, where junior bankers basically have to stand there while senior bankers dissect every single slide, often with conflicting feedback.
Ouch. Talk about being thrown into the fire. It sounds like a masterclass in handling pressure and developing a thick skin all at the same time. But it can't be all analysis and presentations, right? There's got to be some variety in the day-to-day.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But here's where it gets interesting. The document reveals that a surprising amount of time is dedicated to what can only be described as administrative tasks. And we're not talking about making coffee runs here.
Wait, really? Administrative tasks for folks pulling in those Wall Street salaries? I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Think scheduling nightmares, coordinating calendars for multiple high-powered executives, arranging travel, handling logistics for those whirlwind roadshows. It's enough to make your head spin.
It's like herding cats, but the cats are all billionaires with private jets. I can see how those spreadsheets might start to look appealing in comparison. Okay, we've got analysis, presentations, the administrative whirlwind. What's that 4th area that's consuming their time?
Well, this one might surprise you a bit. It's all about recruitment and, other firm-building activities.
Really? That's pretty high up the food chain, right? To be, tasked with bringing in the next generation. So we're talking even the most junior folks are out there trying to,
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, investment banks live and breathe recruitment. You've got your campus presentations, first-round interviews, networking events. It's all part of the job description, even for, someone fresh out of university.
I guess it makes sense when you think about it, though. They're the ones who are just in those shoes, so to speak. So,
Exactly.
They know what those candidates are looking for. They can probably speak to it, better than anybody.
They've been there, done that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've pulled back the curtain a bit on what they do. But what about the culture? That's what makes this world so fascinating, I think.
Yeah, let's just say it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
This document, it really doesn't hold back when describing what it's like to work in that kind of environment.
So give us the lowdown. What are some of the key takeaways you got about how to navigate this world?
Well, the first one that really hit me was this phrase, junior bankers are commodities.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's blunt. What does that look like in practice?
It basically means, you walk in every day and you're replaceable, the pressure is immense, the expectation to perform is constant, and speaking up is, Well, let's just say it's not exactly encouraged.
Yeah. So very much seen and not heard. Kind of a,
Yeah, you could say that.
keep your head down, get the work done, don't rock the boat, kind of.
The focus is on executing the tasks quickly and efficiently and without complaint.
Right.
And there's this underlying understanding that, there are 10 other eager candidates waiting to take your place if you don't.
Right. Yeah. Intense, to say the least.
Yeah.
What other cultural things did you kind of glean?
Well, the document highlights this results over everything mentality.
Okay.
It's a world where, let's just say, the ends often justify the means, which can really take a toll on your personal life.
Right. There's that work-life balance thing we always hear about.
Yeah, and it's not just talk. This document actually quotes a senior banker as saying, 9 to 6 is part-time on Wall Street.
Wow.
So that kind of sums it up.
Forget weekends.
Right. Oh, yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Even taking a vacation requires that you're jumping through hoops and getting permission from multiple higher-ups.
Wow.
You belong to the firm 24/7.
Right. It's a demanding picture they paint, to say the least.
Very much so.
What about the work itself? I mean, is it as cutthroat as they say?
Yeah, the document really emphasizes this culture of perfectionism,
Right.
that there's just no room for error.
Which, yeah, I can see that. I mean, when the stakes are that high and one little mistake can,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just imagine, right? Like you're up all night finalizing a presentation, sleep deprived, running on fumes, and you miss a decimal point in some huge calculation.
Oh, man.
Easy mistake to make, but in
Right.
this world, that one mistake could make or break a deal, could even derail your entire career.
Oof. Talk about pressure. But amidst all this intensity, I'd imagine a certain camaraderie forms, right? You're all in the trenches together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the shared experience, the late nights, the, constant pressure, it creates a bond between those who survive the trenches.
So there's a sense of community amidst the chaos.
Definitely, yeah. The document even talks about like these late night dinners in conference rooms where analysts can finally let their guard down, share war stories, blow off some steam.
I can only imagine the kind of jokes that come out of those late night sessions.
Oh, yeah.
But let's be honest.
Right.
It's still a highly competitive environment, right? Everyone's ultimately vying for those top spots, for those promotions.
Yeah, for sure. Even with the camaraderie, there's always that undercurrent of competition.
Right.
Everyone wants to be the one to impress the senior partners, to climb that ladder.
Of course. And let's not forget, compensation in this world is like directly tied to performance, which
Right.
only fuels that fire.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It's Wall Street after all.
Right. So we've talked about the grueling work, the intense culture, the almost non-existent work-life balance. Who are the people that not only survive, but thrive in this environment? What are those personality traits?
Yeah, well, the document actually gives some interesting insights on this. Unsurprisingly, ambition is key.
Makes sense.
You've got to be hungry, driven to succeed even when you're running on fumes.
Right. Gotta have that fire in your belly.
Exactly. And resilience is crucial too.
Right. This isn't a world for the faint of heart.
No, not at all. You need to be able to handle criticism, setbacks, long stretches of just like grunt work and do it all with a good attitude.
Thick skin, strong work ethic, definitely non-negotiables in this world.
Absolutely. And this one might surprise you. Social skills are super important too.
Really. So it's not just about being a numbers whiz.
Nope. You got to be able to network, build relationships, navigate those office politics. It's all part of the game.
That's a really good point. It's not just about what you know. It's also about who you know and how you play the game, right?
Exactly. You can be the best financial mind out there, but if you can't navigate the human side of things,
It's not going to get you very far.
you're not going to make it to the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked a lot about junior bankers, but how do things change as you climb that corporate ladder? Do those same traits still apply at the senior levels?
That's where things get interesting. The document talks about how personality traits actually become more homogenous the higher up you go.
Homogenous. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. To reach the very top, you need a certain level of ambition, resilience, even ruthlessness when it comes to office politics. So those who don't have those traits, they tend to, drop off along the way, either by choice or by circumstance. So you end up with a leadership pool that often exhibits similar traits, a certain type of personality that really thrives in that kind of high-stakes environment.
It's like natural selections for Wall Street.
Exactly. And the document really drives home the point that while financial motivation is, often cited as the primary driver,
Right.
it's not always about the money itself. It's about what that money represents. power, influence, the ability to shape the world around them.
Yeah, the age-old story, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And in this case, a hefty paycheck.
Right.
But let's be real. The financial rewards are a huge part of the allure.
Yeah. Of course. That potential to make a significant amount of money, it's a major draw, especially for, folks who start their careers with student loan debt, or maybe they come from more modest backgrounds. It's a big deal.
Yeah, the potential for a life-changing amount of money is definitely a motivating factor for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But we'd be remiss if we didn't at least touch on those common exit paths from this world. What happens when those greener pastures start calling? What are the typical next steps?
Well, two paths tend to dominate: private equity and hedge funds.
Okay, so instead of advising companies on deals, they're actually the ones, making the deals happen.
Exactly. Private equity you're buying, restructuring companies, often using leverage with the goal of, selling them for a profit down the line. Hedge funds are more about investing in a variety of assets, using different strategies to generate returns.
Got it. So it's still high finance, just, different sides of the same coin in a way.
Right. And they both offer potentially even greater financial upside than investment banking, but
There's always a but, isn't there?
the work-life balance, or lack thereof, often remains the same, if not even more demanding.
So you're essentially trading one pressure cooker for another, albeit one with potentially higher stakes and higher rewards, of course.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
trade-off. And it's a very personal decision, There's no right or wrong answer. Some people thrive on the intensity, the intellectual challenge, that adrenaline rush of closing a major deal. Others reach a point where the personal sacrifices just outweigh the financial rewards.
It's all about finding that balance, that sweet spot where your ambition aligns with your values, right? With your vision for your life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've gone deep into the world of investment banking, exploring the work, the culture, the lifestyle, even the potential exit paths. And hopefully we've given you a glimpse behind that curtain, a look at the reality behind the often glamorized facade of Wall Street. Now, armed with this knowledge, it's up to you to decide if this world is the right fit for you. So as you continue your own deep dive into a world of finance, remember the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Choose wisely.